Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to day 52. Is it 52 or 53 of, actually it's day 53 of the tip of the day. So welcome. And today I actually wanted to continue on what we talked about on day 51. It was pretty powerful, that tip. So once I posted that video on YouTube, Danielle had a question where she said, another belief that came to mind, and I wonder if you considered having had that belief as well, is the belief I'm unprotected. As you grew up feeling unloved by your mom, and as your father, who's of all people, the one supposed to protect you from any perpetrator, was not around. This could also be a belief of many unprotected children and women in areas where there is also literally so. There is so simply no protection, and this knowing I'm unprotected and what it subconsciously creates then attracts perpetrators, however weak these perpetrators are and whatever their story is. Looking back, if I look at the child who was 7, 8, 9, yes, at 7, 8, 9, 10, I did feel that I wish my family had not interacted with this other family where I had people that had violated me, right? The touching and the violation. Yes, I did feel that belief did exist at that point in time. But when I look back upon it now, I realized I have this incredible compassion towards empathy and compassion towards my mother. And this is what happens to our mothers, I feel. And looking back upon it, what I feel is a lot of children, whether you're a boy or a girl, and like if it was a boy and I don't know, like you may have, we may say that it's only girls, but I wanted to like do the brushstroke. I know there are a lot of men that get violated as well. So we are going to grow up with that resentment that why was I not protected? And we have this wounded child syndrome where we have this belief that, oh, these adults should have protected us. But now with this level of presence, I know that that person had to be unconscious. Like my mother had to be unconscious to allow these people into her life, right? Allow the men, or allow me to, the circumstances were such that I had to go out and like walk my dog, go run errands and everything when I was young. And that's when all the violations start happening, right? Like the trip that I talked about in the train, she couldn't do anything, right? She was there, but how can she protect me from being on that berth sleeping? So yes, when I was young, yes, that did, I did have that limiting belief that they should have protected me. My father should not have left me. But now looking back upon it, I do have this complete forgiveness and compassion, empathy and compassion, that my mother allowed this person or these people into her life because she was acting out of her own sense of lacking in completeness, right? So when they have this the same approval that I'm talking about that we attract, right? Like I attracted at 8 years of age or 7 years of age. I do remember having this feeling of lack, that I wanted approval, that I wanted somebody to show me through things, right? Giving me toys, showering me with gifts, that I was approved. Like I was recognized and appreciated, and I was approved of, right? I'll do another tangent of this. How do we seek approval in another video? But I do realize that my mother was operating through, like, if I had degree 4 or 5 level of on a scale of 1 to 10 of lack and incompleteness and being unloved, she had a scale of on that scale she was at 9, right? So have that loving kindness and compassion for your parent, that they themselves are looking for love, and love in the, what they say, you know, the phrase love in the wrong places. So they are trying to seek approval from this family, or introducing this family into our lives. And then leave it on that being okay, they made a choice to be separated. My parents made a choice to be separated. But again, I see in my mother, she was terrified of being alone. Like she always talked about over and over again how evil the society is, how evil men are. So, and it's like, it's propagated through television as well, right? Not so much as television, but like movies and everything. Like the guy who, the bad man in the movie, or is raping the woman, or you know, doing all kinds of bad acts, right? So she would reinforce. I think that limiting belief I got from her. So that was another attraction towards. Then they become that point of attraction, even at the age of 7, 5, 6. We become a point of attraction because, one, like Seth says, right? We believe that there's evil in the world. There are people that are evil in the world. And the second is that the wanting approval, the wanting and seeking of approval. So I do realize, yeah, I may have had a feeling that I should have been protected. And I think every young girl or boy that was that came through a trauma in that young will feel that they should have, the limiting belief is going to be that, why did my adults not protect me? But just think about it. If they would have protected you, would you have had that incident? And would you have had the incidents that subsequently happened, right? And would you have had the life that you are at? No. So I do know that my life for now, in this, the way it has unfolded, it needed to unfold exactly how it unfolded. So that is another knowing, inner knowing from that depth of presence. And that's why I keep saying everybody needs to work on their presence power. Everybody, we have people in the core group of meditators like Vidya and Patricia. They've started like the hour or 2 of meditation. So if they can take it up, you can take it up as well, because that presence power is going to allow you to see that things should have unfolded exactly that they are. If not, I wouldn't be here talking to all of you, right? So that level of empathy and compassion from that degree of presence, right? That things unfolded just as they are. And look at now that I know how to be one with my divinity, right? Out of the meditations and everything, I know how to pour out that loving kindness, pour out that compassion. So I'm offering that to all of you, that I will talk about my father in the next video. I don't want to take too much time, but the tip here is do you have the compassion for your mother? Right now, I'm going to stay with the mother figure and say that they themselves were acting out of their own sense of lack and incompleteness and seeking approval, seeking what is called love in the wrong places, seeking appreciation in the wrong places with the wrong men or wrong families. And then they introduce this wrong person into and expose us to the wrong person. But to say that it shouldn't have happened, why did that person do that? No, it should have happened, because how would you have learned the lesson of forgiveness? You have to, you need, people need to understand we need the evil in the world. To learn the lessons, to learn the spiritual lessons, we need the perpetrators in the world, so that we can learn the lesson of forgiveness. We can learn the lesson of gratitude. We can learn the lesson of, let's say, surrender. And what I know is, once my one other thing is what if we say, why did my parents not stay together, right? That's another limiting belief, that why did my parents not stay together? I do know when I look back, if my parents would have stayed together, then I would have been like somebody out of the upper middle class or financially well off. And financially well off implies you go through a series of unconsciousness there too, because in India, the upper middle class, they actually, they're people that are smoking, that they're drinking, they're more into the hedonistic activities. What this allowed me to do is, because my mother separated, she was poor. This is another degree of compassion I have. She was poor. So what we had to do is we had to, every day in the evening, I had chores, right? We couldn't afford, like, I didn't have a TV until I was in maybe 12th grade or something like that, 11th grade or 12th grade. We used to listen to the radio. We didn't have a blender. So everything, like, you know, you ground, like if you wanted wet grinding, you would do the rotating, like 2 stones, and you grind it. And because I was more stronger, she would make me grind it, grind any wet grinding or the dry grinding. And some of the grinding, you had to do it on a stone that was flat, like how they show in Native Americans. So like if you go to Colorado and go to these, how did people live 200 years ago or something, and you'll see those stones. So they kind of like familiarize me with my, it's very nostalgic. It reminds me of my childhood. And then we used to live in a home where it used to leak. So the roof used to leak, and we would take like these bins and buckets and basins and put them all around where the leaks are. And I remember one day, like one of the leaks started like right where I was sleeping, and I would just like roll over, scoot over a little bit so that the leak would go, not on myself, but I got woken up through the leak. But I do realize, because of those trials and tribulations of my childhood, of doing that much hard work, right? Coming home, like in the morning, I would sweep the home, and then in the evening, I would come back and again wash like in India, you wash the rooms, right? And then I would fill water. Like we always had scarcity of water. So you had to go to whenever they turned on, the municipality turned on water, you would go fill the water from downstairs and then bring it up to your home. So I do realize, out of that hard work, it made me very hardworking. That became the foundation of how hardworking I am at my workplace, right? I was able to, because I was that tough as a woman, I was able to like lift servers. I was able to install hardware in a data center. So I do know that hard work led me to actually excel in, it became the foundation of how I excel in my workplace. So if you take the unfoldment of who I am right now is exactly things needed to, I have this knowing, just like Oprah says she would get nothing for her journey. I do know, like I can see how each incident allowed me to build, it became a building block of who I am right now, right? And that's the joy, that's the euphoria that I love the fact that right now I am like so totally into Dr. Joe's work and Eckhart's work, and that has become my life, right? Serving all of you has become my life. So that in itself is very gratifying. And then the other pointer that I wanted to give is, yes, okay, in this reality, you know, there are infinite possibilities, right? In this infinite set of possibilities, it may be that my mom and dad separated, right? But there is a reality where they were together, not separated. I don't know if you'll realize that we are living various realities. So in one reality, they were never separated. And I don't know what happened to the Poonam in that reality. And maybe that Poonam is doing a different thing, right? But all of you have different realities that you are living. And that's the infinite possibilities. Like in Dr. Joe's work, we have this thing called changing boxes, a meditation, where you change a box and you know that there is another box to go to. You may be the same person, but there is a box that you can change, and there are infinity of these boxes. So just because you are fixated on this wounded child syndrome of, oh, my mother did this to me, or my father did this to me, they left me unprotected. You know, there is a reality where that you were protected, but does that reality actually bring you to the point where you have the spiritual awakening, and that you are actually moving towards, from your 3D world, you're moving to the 5D world, right? Is that happening for you? And that is our goal, that we move through dimensions, that we transfer and transform ourselves to other dimensions, right? That is the goal. And that's what is exciting for me, that, okay, Eckhart's work, and then what more can I do? I really think that I can develop this presence practice brought me to Dr. Joe's work. That brought a certain set of meditations and tools. Somehow I wanted to be a better healer, bring out more of the healing capacity out in me. And that's when I took up Carolyn Mace's and Dr. Norm Shaley's The Science of Medical Intuition work as well. And I find those tidbits like equally mind-blowing, right? That we've come across, and I've shared some of them with all of you. So just remember that I am wishing that all of you can come to this knowing. It has to be a knowing. It cannot be a mental thought, because mental thought is just an ego thing, right? I want you to have this inner knowing that things unfold exactly that they need to unfold. And that is just one reality that you're experiencing. In other realities, other things may be happening, that your parents were together, your parents were doing fine, right? So with that, something to think about, right? Have a spectacular day. Many blessings. Much love to all of you. Eternally grateful for the support. Thank you. Bye.